I've got a deep burden to see a fulfillment of the cry upon the heart of Jesus, where he said, the harvest truly is great, but the laborers are few. Pray to the Lord of the harvest that he would send forth laborers into his harvest fields. If you no wish for others to be saved, then you're not saved yourself. Be sure of that.
Do me a favor, read that out loud.
Praise in the spring, bird in the hand, once in a lifetime.
You got it all wrong. You want to try again?
Praise in the spring, bird in the hand, once in a lifetime.
All right, let me show you where you got it. It's Paris in the spring, bird in the hand, once in a lifetime. No one ever gets that. You could keep that. You could give that to somebody and see how everybody gets that in error. So I'm pretty much out here asking people, giving them a reward if they prove to me to be a good person. If you prove to me to be a good person right now, I'll give you a reward. Are you a good person?
I feel like I am.
I'm going to ask you a couple of questions to see if that's true, okay? Have you ever told a lie?
Yes.
What do you call somebody that tells lies?
A liar?
Have you ever stolen anything in your life, irrespective of its value?
Yes, when I was younger.
What do you call somebody who steals things?
A thief.
Have you ever put God's name in vain?
Of course.
You know what you do when you do that?
You pray to him and then you go do something wrong.
Yeah, like when you say "oh my" or "God," D-A-M, people don't, instead of substituting something else, they put God's name and put it in the ground.
Well, I haven't done that lately, but I have cussed lately, but I haven't put his name. I haven't said God with the, or so forth, but I have praised to him and then probably done something ignorant afterwards where I feel that's using his name in vain sometimes too.
Okay. It says, do not commit adultery, but Jesus said if you look with lust, you commit adultery in your heart, the sexual desire. Have you ever looked with lust before?
Yes, I've seen pretty women, and I have, a part of me says, ooh, I wonder what it'd be to be right next to them, hugging them and stuff like that.
Yeah, the thing is, one thing is to look at, oh, she's beautiful, but the next thing is just to go further into the mind.
Well, I tend to try to hold off on that, but I can't say that I'm perfect, that I haven't in the past, and recently, when I look at pictures and stuff like that, I be like, ooh, but not to where I see ladies today, I wonder what's underneath, but not.
But in the past,
in the past also, I've had a.
Kelvin, if so you admitted to me you're a lying, thieving, blasphemous, adulterer at heart. If God judges you by the 10 Commandments, and we already look at 4 of them, will you be innocent or guilty before Him? All right. If He finds you guilty, would it be heaven or hell?
I believe that would be neither. It would be a world of learning of my mistakes, and I can take it as hell or heaven, the way I choose to correct my mistakes.
So, I'm going to if there's a heaven and hell, and God judges you by those commandments, and you're guilty, we saw 4 of them. If you're guilty, would you go to heaven or to hell? If God, if you're found guilty.
That's where the question gets a little, because I don't believe that He'll send me to heaven or hell. But if you want me to choose between the two, He'll send me back to this world. People say this is heaven and hell. People say this is heaven and hell.
Wait a minute.
Well, people say this is heaven and hell. Well, people say a lot of things, and that's not concrete enough. This man is casting all his lots. He's gambling. He's putting everything he has on the table of some people and their ideas. But I'm not doing that. I need something concrete, something that is an anchor for my soul. And this is something that I do have. It is the Word of God. I do want to know. And I do know because of His Word. And His Word says in 2 Peter 1:16, for we did not follow cunningly devised fables. This was no made-up story once upon a time in the land far away. No. For we did not follow cunningly devised fables when we made known to you the power and coming of our Lord Jesus Christ, but were eyewitnesses of His majesty. They saw it. They walked with Jesus. They heard Him. They touched those that were healed. They were there. For He received from God the Father honor and glory when such a voice came to Him from the excellent glory. This is my beloved Son, in whom I am well pleased. And we heard this voice which came from heaven when we were with Him on the holy mountain. They were not delusional. They were there in the holy mountain. They saw it with their own eyes. They talked to Jesus all the way through. Continuing, verse 19. And so we have the prophetic word confirmed, which you do well to heed as a light that shines in a dark place, until the day dawns and the morning star rises in your hearts. Knowing this first, that no prophecy of Scripture is of any private interpretation, for prophecy never came by the will of man, but the holy men of God who spoke as they were moved by the Holy Spirit. And this is how we get our confirmation, our word that we believe and we trust of God. It is by these eyewitnesses and God orchestrating, putting His hand and stamp of approval through these men who were prophets, men who spoke for God. And also I wanted to touch on this thing about us being in hell. This is not hell. We're on earth. You know, we're going to go through sufferings and a lot of difficulties in this life. But the Bible, when it talks about hell, it's a state of torment. You know, the guy in Luke chapter 16, verse 19, all the way down, talks about this rich man who, after this life, he was in a state of torment. The fire's not quenched, and he wants some water to drink but can't get any. Jesus talked about where the fire is never quenched and the worm dieth not. So this idea out there that we're in hell is a very false idea, and just a lot of people are just fully deceived. But according to the Bible, if God's going to judge the world, and if you're found guilty, there's two places that He has to send you after you die. Which place do you think He would send you according to the Bible? Heaven or hell? All right, let me help you out. If you're in court, right, and if you're guilty for a crime, say the guy he raped and killed a woman, he stands before the judge. He's guilty. They got the evidence and everything. Would the judge let him go, or would he go to prison?
Well, sometimes it depends on the country too. Like, I've heard stories where
But here in America,
I have also heard stories where people pay enough to get away with it.
but he's in front of the judge. They have the evidence. He's sitting there. He's about to be guilty. He's about to pronounce his sentence. What do you think? The judge is going to say
They'll probably give him a certain year sentence or so forth. And
so he will be guilty?
he'll be guilty for that moment of time, and then he'll have the opportunity to rebuild his structure as far as his life. And
He'll be going to prison, right?
or a facility of some sort where he can learn from his mistakes.
Okay.
Here in America, sometimes that occurs, yeah.
So, I'm gonna tell you real quick what the Bible says. If you're guilty for breaking God's laws, God's gonna one day, He's a judge. He's the ultimate judge. On the day of judgment, the Bible teaches that God is gonna judge the world in righteousness. In order for you to go to heaven, you have to be perfect on the day of your birth to the day of your death, thought, word, and deed. When I say good is moral perfection. So, is there anybody morally perfect that you know that have never lied, never stolen, you know?
Not since birth.
So if God...
not to finish, not to cut you off, but to finish that off, not from birth, because I haven't been born with everybody. There's people that was born before me. There's people that are born after me. So I couldn't hold their life in my judgment hands because of that moment of birth. To say that I know everybody's birth from the end is to know when they're going to die. And unfortunately, I don't know that. You know what I'm saying? Even though if I have the information on when they were born, that doesn't mean I know when they're going to die. But when they die,
So you think there's somebody perfect among us?
no.
Okay, you're right. The Bible says all have sinned and fall short of the glory of God. That means everyone has broken the laws that I gave to you and stuff like that. So if God judges a person, if he's guilty for a crime, they'll be guilty, obviously guilty for breaking his laws. If he judges them, he's going to send them to hell. And this is why. It's like a judge who finds a guilty criminal, right? He has to punish him and send them to prison. Hell is God's prison for those who's broken his laws and stuff. And if God judges you, and you admit it, you lied, you stolen, you'll be guilty, and God will have to send you to a place called hell. Does that concern you? What the Bible teaches, that if God judges you according to the law, you will go to hell?
It concerns me to a point because I'm not saying that I'm an unbeliever, but I also know that, like you have said, there is a heaven and a hell. And depending on how I correct my wrongs here or the next life after, will be a step closer to that heaven or hell that everybody speaks of.
The Bible actually speaks that we're only going to live one life. So your dad and your mom came together and created, you were bought out. You're just a unique person. There's not going to be another you. You're just absolutely unique to God's eyes. And it says it's appointed for a man to die once. After that, the judgment. So it's appointed a man to die once or twice or three. No, it's one time, and then the judgment. You're going to live this one life. God has given it to you. Do you know what God has done for you so you wouldn't go to a place called hell? Do you know what God has done?
To give me the breath of life?
Like, you broke his laws, and God judges you. He's going to punish you and send you to a place called hell. What has God done so you wouldn't have to go to a place called hell?
He has made me in his likeness to remind myself of my wrongs and inequities to better my ways as I grow older, even though I know I've stumbled since my birth.
All right, I'm going to give you a little analogy. If you're in a court, right, and you're guilty for breaking a crime, and then somebody comes and pays your fine, the judge will let you go because somebody paid your fine. God did something to pay your fine. Do you know what that is?
Some people speak that there was a man at one point in time where he himself wasn't perfect, but he died for a purpose of sin. Unfortunately,
So you know.
I don't believe that.
Oh, okay. So that's why we're out here, just so you know. 2,000 years ago, we believe God sent forth his son, born of a virgin. He lived a perfect life. And instead of, punishing you and me, we believe Jesus was crushed on the cross to pay for our sins. So we broke the law. Jesus paid our fine in the cross so we can be free before God. So you don't believe that message?
I believe that there was a man that was punished for his sins. And no matter how much I want to hide behind that word and say that it's going to save me, it's not.
You don't believe that Jesus was perfect. That's your issue.
Yeah, I don't believe that man was perfect because a perfect man should never die, no matter what.
We certified teaching people who ain't scared of God. Call us evangelists, man. Until we die, preaching that Jesus is God. Please listen to our stances, kid. Yo, we preach Christ, Jesus Christ, in his fullness, dog, in his fury and endless love. In his endless love. Seek him now, you can know him as Savior. Seek him later, you'll know him as Judge. This is real. We preach Christ, Jesus Christ, in his fullness, dog, in his fury and endless love. In his endless love. Seek him now, you can know him as Savior. Seek him later, you'll know him as Judge.